Hello and welcome to this episode of the Connection Compass podcast. Today I am taking the mic myself. The episode is called What the World Needs. In this episode, I am talking about safety, trust, and the wholeness of you. If you are interested in attending a new culture of leadership event, building safer spaces for people to thrive in Manchester, please check the show notes. A few weeks back now, I wrote a short article on LinkedIn about when we consider or when is a psychologically safe space a safe space. I had been pondering this a lot because obviously coming up to the leadership event in October about building safer spaces, but also because of what I was seeing on the online space. So I suppose there are lots of examples that I could give, but one of the particular ones is that I saw someone posting a photo of themselves online at a protest with a board that said something about punching a TERF. So a TERF is a person whose views on gender identity are considered hostile to transgender people, or someone who opposes social and political policies that are designed to be inclusive of transgender people. And, I thought to myself, if that was a work colleague that I sat next to at work and held gender critical beliefs, which someone has a right to do, how would your sense of safety sit? And it's also true for the other way round. If you saw somebody with a board with anti-transgender message on it, that person too could feel unsafe. But then it kind of these questions started to emanate, and I started to think about them some more, and I was like, well, what do we consider as a safe space now? And I was thinking about the events that I've held and I've attended, and I'm sure that we'll have all been to events where the training facilitator and host stood at the front of the venue and announced proudly that this is a safe space. And I know as a facilitator of training, workshops, and retreats, I've done this myself. I have said this is a safe space. And then what I've usually followed up with is this is a safe space because you will be respected, you will be heard, you will have space to speak and debate. But the truth is, I was lying. I can't create a safe space for someone all of the time. It's impossible to do so. I can provide the ingredients for a safe space, but I can't create a space specific to your needs. And here is why. As you will have heard me mention before, I studied somatics for healing burnout and recovery. And it's completely changed my perception of safe spaces and what it means to have a safe space. So, somatics is a field of study that perceives the body from within by the first person perspective. For example, when a person is being perceived from a third person viewpoint, the body is perceived, the outer body. But when the same human being observes themselves from an internal perspective, they will have insight into their own proprioceptive senses. So, in simpler terms, what I perceive or set as safe for you in a group setting may not match how you feel or perceive what is safe on the inside to you, because I do not have the same insight that you have, in the same way that you do not have insight to me. And it was Thomas Hanna who coined the term somatics in 1976. He said that where there is failure to recognize these two categorical differences between the first person observation and the third person observation leads to fundamental misunderstandings. At some point, we will have all been told, I'm sure, that we're in a safe space, and it's turned out not to be. And it might not be something obvious, but there's just something sitting in the pit of your stomach that's telling you that this is not a safe space. And perhaps you know what is causing that feeling, but it can also be perhaps something that you cannot quite grasp. But the feeling is there and it's loud for you. The problem with the impact of not feeling safe is that it robs the world of you. Not feeling safe prevents you from speaking and sharing your opinions and showing your knowledge and talents. Not feeling safe prevents you from being honest. You feel like you don't want to be seen and heard, with your nervous system on high alert and in tatters. You've just got this sense, you've just got this feeling that you cannot be yourself. And instead of enjoying the moment, you end up feeling drained of energy and exhausted. Spaces that are meant to be safe, that are not, they break trust. They make people wary of who to trust, who to establish connections with, and build good, lasting relationships with as well. In our modern, fast paced, and energetic world, it can feel difficult to navigate a space of safety for ourselves and our sense of safety within ourselves. In our current world, our sense of safety is frequently in conflict for our own time, energy, through the elements of our lives that often feel outside of our control, to the needs and the expectations of others. And we can feel a sense of fatigue collectively, I'm sure, settling in, and the discordance that we have with ourselves and others. Our world is noisy, loud, visibly disconnected, fragmented, with highly polarized views. This is not a setting for a sense of safety. People are unhappy, they're in highly reactive states, and we're forgetting that as humans, we are holistically beautiful, complex, and messy. The stories we hold go beyond what we ever think and feel about ourselves. Our stories are with us wherever we go. If you think about all that we hold, our heart, our logic, our intuition, our life stories, stories through the generations, our childhood experience, family experience, our sense of self through the teenage years, heartache, sense of belonging, navigating those early adulthood years, the impact of education, work, health, social, political stances, and frameworks, finances, wellness, physical, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We have a lot on board. It's impossible for any one person to create a sense of safety for us as individuals. Whether we were supported in our early years with a strong sense of self, we can always learn to source a sense of safety for ourselves. A few days ago, I was having a moment of quiet contemplation when I heard the words, "Everyone is frightened now." To what level this sits with everyone is open to debate. However, considering everything that's going on around us and what is happening and not happening around us tells me that there is some truth in those words. Things seem unstable. I'm not sure anyone really knows the truth, who we can really trust. Safeguarding seems to have left the building. Tensions, emotions are running high. People are highly reactive to what's being said, not being said, conversations being shut down with words like racist, misogyny, transphobic, turf. Shutting down conversations, no matter how uncomfortable, breaks trust because it's controlling and it's abusive. Difficult conversations have to be had to understand someone, to hear and see them, to hear and see one another. Shutting down conversations might make you feel safe, but it won't make the other person feel safe either. And when that happens, no one is safe. We seem to have a culture where people are encouraged to find a sense of safety in external items, lanyards, badges, flags. Why are we not encouraging people to find the courage to find a sense of safety and trust within ourselves first? Difficult conversations are becoming harder to have because of polarization, because of the social echo chambers, but we need to have them. Before I started to work on this episode of the podcast, I sat down and thought about the 3 most important values to bring to this episode. The 3 that I settled on was wholeness, safety, and trust. Our nervous systems are overloaded with information. They are overloaded with fear, worry about what to say and what not to say. Yet the very thing that you might want to say and need to say is the very thing that another person may want you to say and may want you, even though the very thing that you want to say is often the very thing that another person needs to hear you say. We have lost the ability to live and work from the deeper parts of ourselves, our heart, our intuition. We are overthinking, rushing to react rather than pausing, thinking things through in terms of the wider context of the world and taking into account the bigger picture. Our overworked nervous systems can produce irritation, anger, always looking for someone else to blame, insisting someone should think and speak in a specific way, highly reactive, judgmental criticism, not only for the self, but for other people too. And thinking that we know exactly how it is when we really don't know at all. The values exercise I did for this episode came from my somatic training that I took part in last year. And as I was working through the exercise, deciding on the values, I found a piece of paper where I had wrote some thoughts, and somehow they seem incredibly impertinent to this episode that I'm bringing to you today. So I'd like to take you back to the title of the podcast, which is What the World Needs. The world needs you to recognize your wholeness, to see yourself beyond the protected characteristics, your age, range, your skin color. The world needs you to remember the depth and breadth, the beautifully complex nature of you, your uniqueness and intricateness, human being that you are. The world needs you to find your sense of safety in yourself, to recognize that a sense of safety is transient. There are going to be times when you are not so far from your center that your strong sense of safety will be rocked. But the sense of safety that you have built within yourself will be so strong that you are easily going to be able to bounce back. If you have been listening to the podcast for a while and you heard the episode that I did with Grace Williams, she was saying that she taught her children and family that they had this strong sense of safety, and they were taught that their safety and that they were loved, and that was to be something that remained steadfast, so that regardless of whatever happened outside of the house, everybody had this strong sense of safety. They knew that they were loved. And that's what needs to happen in our world today. The world needs you to hold and build a sense of trust within yourself, working with your logic, heart, and intuition in unison. When we have these elements in place, we can then help others. If you imagine the soil as your sense of safety and your foundation, the roots are the trust that you have with yourself. The leaves that grow from the shoots from the roots are the other people. Once we have that sense of safety and trust embedded for ourselves, we can then support others to do the same. And before I leave you with this episode, I'm going to bring you my thoughts from the notes that I found. What I want you to take away with you from this episode is to remember that in this current climate, that no matter what happens, that you create a space for yourself, that you give yourself space, time to explore the world with you in it, to access your inner knowing, to get to know it, what it sounds like, to have the courage to focus inwards, to explore your thoughts and feelings. Where do they come from? Are they yours? Do they belong to someone else? To honor the connection that you have with yourself. To remember to open up to the possibility and potential of what is for you. To feel a sense of safety with yourself. To bring yourself into balance in a way that is right for you. And to live fully in the present. That you allow yourself to feel happiness, that you are allowed to feel joy, and that you can be honest with yourself without being afraid. And to remember that you hold an energy of power. It doesn't matter what anyone tells you or tries to take away from you. Don't be afraid to hold it, and to hold it with integrity, gratitude, to heal it if it needs healing, to nurture it, respect it, and relax into it. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Connection Compass. If you think this episode will help somebody else, please leave a review. If you are interested in coming to the New Culture of Leadership event on Monday the 20th of October, please check the show notes. And remember to keep talking, keep connecting for a more interconnected world.